You know the advice. Look in the mirror, repeat, I am powerful or I am successful. It's like the classic self-help playbook. But if you've ever actually tried it and just felt, I don't know, a little ridiculous, you are definitely not alone. It turns out there's a really solid, science-backed reason why just saying stuff doesn't magically make it true. And, way more importantly, there's a much better way to create real, lasting change.
I love this quote from writer Ali Scarlett. He was talking about his own journey and, man, is this relatable. You say the words, but deep down, nothing feels different. It's super frustrating, and it can make you feel like you're the one who's broken. But what if the whole technique is the problem?
So, if that feeling hits home for you, stick with me. This isn't about you lacking willpower or anything like that. It all comes down to how your brain is actually wired. See, your subconscious mind, it's way smarter than we give it credit for, and it is not easily fooled. So let's get into the science of what's really going on in there. Okay, so first up, we've got to talk about what I call the affirmation trap. Why does this super popular method so often just fall flat? Well, the answer is hiding in a really fundamental idea from psychology. It all comes down to this thing called cognitive dissonance. It's a fancy term, but the idea is simple. Our brains absolutely hate contradictions. They crave consistency. So when our actions don't match up with our beliefs, or in this case, the words we're saying in the mirror, it creates this mental friction, this discomfort. It's like an alarm bell starts blaring in your head saying, wait a minute, something here isn't adding up. This visual just nails the internal battle, right? On one hand, you're telling yourself, I am powerful. But on the other hand, your brain is scrolling through this huge library of memories where you've behaved in the exact opposite way. And it just sees this massive gap, this contradiction it has to resolve. So when your brain is faced with that conflict, your words versus your actions, which one do you think it's going to believe? It's going to side with the strongest evidence every single time. And your actions? They are the hard proof. At the end of the day, your brain believes what you do, not just what you say. And that right there leads us directly to the solution. If our brain believes our actions, then the real key to changing isn't just to change our words. It's to change our behavior, because our actions are literally what forge our identity. Now, you've probably heard some version of this quote before, right? It totally fits into that whole affirmation culture. It feels like it should be true. But it's actually a really subtle but powerful misquote of what a very famous philosopher actually said. This is the real quote, and it changes everything. Aristotle figured this out thousands of years ago. Identity isn't built on what we declare, it's built on what we do. It's built on our habits. Excellence isn't some affirmation you repeat, it's the natural result of your consistent actions. The author James Clear has a brilliant way of breaking this down into 3 layers. See, most of us try to change from the outside in. We focus on the outcome, like, I want to lose 20 pounds. But the real deep change, the kind that actually sticks, it happens from the inside out. It starts with your identity. It starts with changing what you truly believe about yourself. Think about it like this. The goal isn't just to write a book, it's to become a writer. The goal isn't to run 1 marathon, it's to become a runner. When you shift your identity, your actions just naturally start to fall in line with that new belief. You make time to go for a run because, well, that's just who you are now. You're a runner.
Okay, so this is the big question. How do we actually build these new identity-based habits? Well, James Clear gives us this incredibly simple but powerful framework. He calls it the 4 laws of behavior change. And it's basically a practical, step-by-step guide for making our actions line up with the person we want to become.
Here's the whole system at a glance. If you want to build a good habit, you have to make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. And what if you want to break a bad habit? You just flip it on its head. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Simple, right? Let's just zoom in on one of these, because it is a total game changer. Make it easy. Look, our brains are fundamentally lazy. They're wired to follow the path of least resistance. So use that. Reduce the friction. If you want to go to the gym in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before. And you can even use what he calls the 2-minute rule. Just scale any new habit down so it takes less than 2 minutes to do. Want to read more? Don't commit to a chapter. Just start by reading 1 single page. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. 1 page a night? Seriously? How's that going to make any real difference? And this is where we see the absolutely mind-blowing magic of compounding. These tiny, what he calls atomic habits, have unbelievable power when you stretch them out over time. Take a look at this number, 37.78. What in the world do you think that represents? I promise it's not just a random number.
It's the actual mathematical result of making a tiny, consistent improvement every single day.
That's right. If you get just 1% better at something every single day for a year, because of the power of compounding, you will end up almost 38 times better by the end of that year. Those small daily improvements, they aren't small at all when you look at the long game. There's this fantastic analogy for this. Imagine a plane taking off from New York, and it's headed for Los Angeles. If the pilot adjusts the heading by just 3 degrees, a tiny change, you wouldn't even notice it, the plane won't land in LA. It'll land closer to Tijuana, Mexico. Your daily habits are your trajectory. Tiny changes early on can lead you to a completely different destination in life.
So here's the big idea, the main takeaway from all of this. Forget the affirmations for a minute and start thinking of your actions as votes. Every time you go for a run, you're casting a vote for, I am a healthy person. Every single time you write one page, you cast a vote for, I am a writer. And over time, these little votes build up and create undeniable proof of your new identity.
And that leaves us with really the most important question of all. It's not about what you want to get or what you want to achieve. It's about who you want to become. What identity are you building, one tiny action at a time? What votes are you going to cast for yourself today?